You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Football Show Extra right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. We've got a Hurlford special this week. We're delighted to be joined by the Hurlford manager, Darren Henderson. Darren, it's an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thanks very much for joining us.
Pleasure, Scott.
Brilliant. It's a great to have you on. We've been trying to get you on for a while, and we're also joined by the top goal scorer in the league and the star man for Hurlford this season so far, Lewis Morrison. Lewis, a pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. We're obviously going to talk about your season so far. Obviously, we'll delve into your careers in the game. We'll put you in the spot with some quick fire questions. We've got a few wee stories to ask you about, and then we'll basically talk about what's coming up. So we'll get stuck right in. Darren, I remember you saying at the start of the season in an interview I saw that this was your toughest challenge of your career. But so far, you're sitting sixth in the league, 31 points. You must be delighted with how the season's went so far.
It's been decent, Scott. You know, obviously a wee bit of inconsistency in our game at the moment, but no, the boys have been great. Big changes this year, personnel and numbers-wise as well. So, not happy so far.
Brilliant. What was that about the start of the season that you thought was going to be the tough challenge? Was it about the kind of players you've lost and kind of struggling to replace them and things like
that? The biggest thing was, was 7 teams getting relegated, which is harsh. You know, it's a hard ask. You know, and we lost quite a few players, but I've replaced them with some quality, which has been great. You know, and they've gelled really well, and I think there's more to come. I think we'll improve as the season goes, and we're, the points total, I think we've got 31 points, so I'm really happy with that.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's definitely been kind of a big success for you so far this season. Lewis, how have you found it? But obviously last season was a bit of a mess with COVID and things like that. How have you found it back in the league and back to a normal kind of situation of playing every week?
It's good, to be fair. Even like we missed the fans in that last year, do you know what I mean? We only played like 8 games or whatever it was, and then I don't know, it was maybe 5 months or something we stopped for. So see, just getting back into the routine of things, and what was it? We've done the 3 pre-seasons in about 18 months or something a year, so it's actually getting a full pre-season and then getting a run of games it's good. It's benefited us. Yeah,
definitely. Darren, what was pre-season like? Obviously, as we said, it was tough to obviously maintain fitness during COVID and things like that. Was it a big kind of shock what the players come back like after pre-season, or were you surprised that maybe some of them maintaining fitness the way they did?
I know obviously with COVID and the restrictions and obviously the layoff we had, but Scott, footballers are just different now. Very, very rarely they come back in bad condition. Some obviously better than others, but they're all out doing, even at lockdown, they were doing 5K runs and timing ourselves and all that. So, pre-season was just like normal. The boys were in really good condition. Some of them were actually in better condition than previous years.
Brilliant. Lewis, what's it been like? Obviously, this first 6 games were an unbeaten run. Obviously, wins against Kilburn, Bonnet, and away to Glenafton, things like that, and 3 draws. It was a good start. How did you find getting back into the league this Saturday, Wednesday, and obviously a good run to start the season?
I think like when you play Saturday, Wednesday, you get off to a winning start against Kilburn. Obviously, momentum continues. So I think the first 6 games are crucial for us, to be fair, to make sure that we got off to a good start. Obviously, with the 7 teams getting relegated and that, so. Going off with a win against Kilburn in the first game of the season, I think just kicked us on. There was a few draws in there which should have been wins, but looking back at it, undefeated in the first 6, you're not complaining, are you?
No, definitely not. Darren, how did you find the first 6 games? Was it good to go off to that unbeaten run and just get a bit of confidence in the squad?
Aye, it was the start we needed, and it's a cutthroat league. I remember a few years back we won the first 11 games. We took 33, a possible 33. We ended up, we didn't even win the league that year. We finished second the Auchinleck. So, it was really, especially with 7 teams getting relegated, there will be a few, as you can look at the league table just now, Scott, there's a few teams, a few big teams, there's a lot of teams in a bit of trouble. You know, we need to dig out some points. You know, I'm guessing you might need roughly around about 45 points, and to start the way we started. You know, and like as a manager, as a coach, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't thinking about winning leagues. I was getting myself in the pack. You know, get a decent start to get points on the board, because if you're doing the bottom of the league, confidence isn't great, and it affects the players, and you can see the way they play. You know, so it was a great start for us.
Brilliant. We'll touch a wee bit on the first defeat, the 4-0 defeat against Bede. Lewis, that must have been a kind of difficult day after a good run like that. What went wrong that day?
See, to be fair, I thought first 20-25 minutes we actually started fairly well, and the boys at Kenny McLean's put one in the top corner, fair out wide, and then you think, like, what chance have we got here? And then we gave away another sloppy goal to make it 2-0. And it's always hard, especially, you know what it's like at Beeve, down 2-0. So we went for it a wee bit. We had chances to make it 2-1 half time, 2 each. And then the gaffer says to us, like, just go for it. And then I think they've scored, is it quick into the second half again, gaffer? And then that was it. It was just, you're still trying to get back in the game and stuff, but the game's done by then. And you reflect back on it, you think, how? Because how well we started the first 20-25 minutes.
Was it disappointing for you as well, Darren, that day?
Aye, you know, I certainly never seen the result coming. As Jinky said, we started really well. We had chances to go in front in the game, and you know, as Jinky said as well, Kenny scored an absolute worldie, and you know, we're doing 2-0 before we knew it, and we just struggled to get going, and you know, we just kind of throw caution to the wind a wee bit second half, and we changed the shape a bit, just try to get back in the game. To be fair to Beith, as much as we weren't very good that day, they were good. You know, they've got, we Butcher's got some good players there, and you know, and it was a sore one. But we responded well for it. You know, we improved after that.
Yeah, it was definitely. We improved with a 4-2 win against Darvel. That was a big game for us as well. Obviously, Jack getting the hat trick that night. That must have been some win as well. Obviously, Darvel, we know their plans for this year, and we know how kind of well they've done in the past couple of seasons. That must have been a massive win for the dressing room, Lewis.
I think it just shows what we're about as a team and what we're about as a club. Like, good on there on a Friday night, busy, playing against a top team, and you just kind of work hard and you get the rewards at the end. And the penalty to get us in the first half it could be soft, like, but to get us back in the game, and then I thought after that, our hard work and determination just kind of overran them and overshone their quality. So it was good always to come away beating Darvel, especially down there, big crowd. So yeah, just build on to that.
Darren, obviously that win against Darvel and then a 3-1 away win to Clydebank. They're two massive results to get, particularly this season. Yeah,
the Darvel one, you know, we had a game plan. You know, we worked a wee bit on training about how we would go about it. You know, obviously, you know, the personnel that they have, you know, they've got qualities everywhere. But to be fair to the boys, to a man, they were brilliant. You know, we went there that night. I think we only had 2 subs with 13 men, you know, and we worked ever so hard. You know, they stuck to their game plan. We scored some good goals. We got a couple of wee bits and bobs of luck on the night. I think he was saying maybe with the penalty being soft or could have been on outside the box. But I think I thought we were the better side and deserved. I think we deserved to win.
Lewis, obviously the big highlight for you this season has been your kind of goal scoring run. You must be, is this the kind of best you've played in your whole career?
I would say so. I think it's just all clicked for me this year, to be fair. Like, even like when we done last season, what was it, 6 games we played, I think I was chipping in with goals then, and like, I've just worked hard during the off season and that, and I've got the gaffer and Demps on it me all the time. So I think everything's just fell into place for me this year. It doesn't get better scoring a minute and 30 seconds into the first game of the season, and your confidence just oozes after that. So it's good personally, but my main focus is just making sure that Hurlford are winning games.
Absolutely, yeah. Darren, how big's players like Lewis been, obviously, with their goal scoring run?
He's been great. You know, listen, Jinky's his abilities, you know, he's got more ability than he knows what to do. You know, at times it's just what he's added his game this year. He's worked hard. You know, he's more of a team player this year. He's not just scoring goals; he's setting up goals, and he's working hard for the front. You know, we press high and we defend for the front, and he's bought into that this year. And he's been a revelation. He's been class. He has.
Brilliant. The game on Saturday against Largs, the 3-3 draw, there was a lot of twists and turns in that game, Lewis. Obviously, you scored and Paul got a double. What was your thoughts on the game on Saturday?
I don't even know where to start. I don't know. We started so well again, went up 2-0, and then we just conceded a sloppy goal, which for a set piece again, and we're just kind of. So we get into half time 2-1, and the gaffer just kind of says, like, they're there for the taking. And then they've come out and scored 2 goals in 10 minutes. You're thinking, Jesus. But it's the same as always with us. We've always worked hard, and we know we've got quality. Like Taz, he always steps up when you need him. So it's just a whirlwind of emotions on Saturday, but I'm just glad we never walked away with a defeat.
Darren, what was it like for you on Saturday? Do you echo the thoughts of Lewis?
Well, listen, it's not a happy hunting ground for us, Scott. You know, I can't remember last time we won there, seriously. You know, and they also beat us in a Scottish Cup semi-final. So a bit of a bogey team, lads, and they've got good. Arnie's got a good side there. You know, they work hard, a lot of youngsters, and as Jinky said, we started really well. You know, the 2 goals, Taz's and Jinky's goals were brilliant. I said to him at half time, goals like that should be winning games. You know, and lost a silly goal before half time, and that killed us a wee bit. And we didn't start the second half well. We didn't defend well enough, and probably deserved to be down 3-2. But no, they showed a wee bit of character. Taz's popped up with another goal for us, and a big goal. And to be fair, it could have went either way at the end. Their goalies had a couple of good saves, but our goalie had a good save at 3 each in a 1v1. So I think the conditions were horrible, you know, wind and rain. So I think before the game, I'd probably, just because it was Lars and we don't do too well there on the Astro, I would have took a point. But when you're up 2-0, you know, no disrespect to Lars at all, I think we should be winning.
Obviously, another big thing in the season was obviously the Junior Cup. Obviously, Darren, as a team that obviously you won the Junior Cup a few years ago and things like that, before we get into obviously the disappointment in the first round, how big was it for the club to keep their kind of renewal in that competition?
Huge, Scott. You know, we've had, I mean, the record that we've got, I mean, I think we had 5 semi-finals in 6 years. Yeah. You know, we won a final, we lost a final. You know, it's, you know, I lost a lot of players who were involved in all that, and I just don't know if I brought enough players in who actually knew the severity of the tie. You know, it was Colony Park away. You know, it was a disaster. You know, we didn't. This is probably as poor as any Hurlford team I've had played on the day. In other years, like the year we won it, I can remember, Scott, we went to 4th, I think, and we drew 1 each, and we beat them 6-1 or 5-1 at home in replay. Now we went up there, and the rules have changed. Obviously, we COVID and all that, you know, it was you go away from home. We didn't play well. We drew 1 each. We'd expect maybe to come back down the road and maybe get the tie, and it goes straight to penalties. And penalties, just a lottery. You know, we played Wishaw the other week there in penalties as well. I mean, anything can happen in penalties, and they scored their 5 and we missed 1, and probably deserved to go out. But I scored 1 really sore. Probably still affecting me yet. Even though the cup is probably not just the same as it was, but still the Scottish Cup, and you want to be in it. Yeah,
definitely. Lewis, what was your thoughts in that game? It must have been a big disappointment to get out the cups early.
Aye, it was, especially after the travel as well up to the game and that. And I know the boys done everything right to prepare for the game, and on our day it just never happened for us. We had chances. We've created several chances. I think they've had 1 shot on target and it's went in, but just one of the days for us, and unfortunately the case we get put in penalties. But I think it's made us better, to be fair. It's brought us a bit of bonded us, to be fair. That's what I would say after. It's kind of brought us a bit of togetherness.
Obviously the South as well, that's another cup competition. You're doing quite well in that, the big win against Nithsdale and then the win against Wishaw. Is that important, Darren, to try and go as far as you can in that competition, considering the Junior Cup disappointment?
Absolutely. You know, every game, every cup, it's just I just have to win every game. And, you know, this is a massive cup, you know, a lot of big hitters in it. And we've been fortunate to get another home tie against Blackburn United, who Alan Montgomery, who, listen, we don't leave any stone unturned. We doesn't matter what league they're in, or, you know, we get them watched, and you know, we analyse what they do and bits and bobs. So Alec went and watched them on Saturday, and they lost to think it was Trinent on Saturday, and he'll go and watch them again this week. So we'll know everything about them when they come up the road next Saturday. So no, massive. We're at home. Our home form's been really good, and I will be looking for certainly to progress into the next round.
Definitely. Lewis, what's it like in the dressing room? Is this a really important cup for you to progress in this season?
I think so. Like all the boys say that as well. Like, I think as a player, you want to play as many games as possible. So I think, especially in cups, when you know you've got something that you can lift at the end of it. So I think going into games that we're playing in the cup, then they're more crucial than league games to a certain extent, because there's something at the end of it. Yeah,
and obviously the how well you've done so far this season, Darren, it's just a case of hopefully trying to keep that going, isn't it?
Scott, as I said, right now I want to get 45 points on the board, then we can go and relax and see where it takes us. Hopefully we can get 45 points in the next few games, and we can put a wee bit of pressure on the teams in front of us. We're in a decent position, but we need to kick on. I've got some good players there. I've got players that are capable of hurting teams, but we need to just show a wee bit more consistency.
Yeah, Lewis, obviously as well, we spoke about your run of goals and things like that. How important is it to keep that consistency going?
Aye, definitely. It's good on a personal note as well, but as a gaffer says, at the end of the day, we're looking to get to the 45 points as soon as possible, and then look up the table instead of looking behind it. So as long as I can keep chipping in with the goals, I'm happy.
Absolutely. We'll move into talking a bit about your careers. Obviously, you've both been in the game a while. Obviously, Darren, you've had a very long and enjoyable playing career at the likes of Stranraer and Ayr and things like that. What were some of your favourite memories of your playing career? And you must have some kind of great stories for your time playing in the game.
Oh, God, Scott, I miss playing so much, coaching or managing. It has its good points, but playing was everything. You just looked after yourself. But loved it, wouldn't swap anything I'd done. Long as it was, fighting relegation quite a lot because of the clubs I played with, obviously, with the ability that I had as well. That's why I was at the clubs, but loved my time. Started off at Clyde as a kid under John Clark, Lisbon Lion. Absolutely terrified for the man. I was terrified. And he's the nicest guy in the world. He just said that. I don't know. There's no many managers I would say that about as well, but he was certainly one. And Stranraer, fond memories. I had over 200 games there. I might have chipped in about 50 goals or so. Won the league the first time in our history. It was special. Great bunch we had, and end up winning at Ayr as well. Winning the league was a wee bit different. Ayr were a bigger club. Stranraer were when I joined Stranraer, I think they ended the season with 6 points. It was 2 points for a win then, mind you, but we just progressed, and it was great, and I bounced about, a couple of spells at Ayr, Raith Rovers, Forfar, enjoyed my time at Ross County. I lived in Dingwall for 6 months, which was different, even the chip shop shut at 6 o'clock, and we had to move into Inverness the second 6 months because we were getting bored. And the winters up there are severe, as you know. But no, I loved it. If I could go back, I would probably change a few things. But lucky I stayed away from injury. My fitness levels were good, and injuries is the key, Scott. If you can...
Yeah.
But I had no operations to stop playing, believe it or not. I was only ever out for 2 or 3 weeks here or there. But special days, some special days. A lot of, as all the football drink will tell you, there's a lot more down days than there is ups. But, we'll take it with me. 500 and something games, so very, very privileged and lucky to play that length of time.
And who were some of the best characters you met playing the game? There must have been some good kind of teammates you must have met back in the day. Jesus.
Many years ago. One kind of springs to mind. I played with a boy called Paul Kinnear at Ayr United, and his nickname is PK. He actually 2 £250,000 moves. He was a special player, but he was just a Glasgow boy. And I remember, this is a cracker, my debut for Ayr United, I'd never played full time before. I was 26, I think, and I'd always been part time. I signed with Ayr. Gordon Dale was the manager, and first it was all away at Old Methil against East Fife, and I think nowadays got one a couple of £100 appearance money, and you had to go on the pitch to get your money. Whether you were on for a minute or 90, you'd go on the pitch. And first, Gordon Dale had said to us in the dressing room before the game, "Did you know score a couple of goals up here, Hendo?" Sunrana goes, "No, Gaffer, I get sent off." He said, "Oh, brilliant." So the game started a minute, and a guy's elbowed me and he's bust me right round the corner like a cracker. And I've went off. And PK's on the bench, he's a sub. And he's not happy because he's got this £200 spent. He's appearance money before he's even got it. And I've run up the touchline. Gordon Dale says, "Oh, you need to get that stitched." And the old East Fife doctor had one of the big whisky noses, and I ran up in the dressing room. There was no anaesthetic then, or glue or staples, and he had the big hook, and he's hooking it in my eye, and he's putting them. Oh, it was brutal, blood at me. And PK came into the dressing room, he says, "You all right, Hendo?" I goes, "Aye, I'm fine, I'll be out in 1 minute." I said, "Tell the gaffer I'm good to go." No concussion, I was fine, he was just stitching the wound. And I come running down the touchline, I see PK was on the park, and he's crossing the ball in. And I'm kind of looking at him, I was like, "Oh, somebody must have got injured." And Gordon Dale says, "What you doing?" I says, "What do you mean what me doing?" My eye was all over the place, stitched. He said, "PK said you had concussion." I says, "What?" And I turned around and he goes, "Hendo, I'll give you a 50. I'll give you a 50. I was fucking raging. Absolutely. That was my debut for Ayr, and he was that type of boy. Never ever got the 50 quid off him, believe it or not. But he was a jack of lad, just one of the Glasgow boys. He was like, especially when you lost games, seeing a Monday morning, he's the guy you needed in your dressing room. He just kept everybody going. But few characters, few more special memories. But I'd be here for a month to tell you about them.
I know, definitely. But we'll move on to Lewis, talking about the start of your playing career. Obviously, you started off at Kilmarnock, then went to St Mirren. Who were your kind of highlights of your early playing career?
I think just maybe being full time, just leaving school and being full time and being around about the players that you were, like the Boydies, or even like Greg Kilty, looked up at him at the time. So being in full time, just training, and then I think just making my debut for Kelly is probably the highlight, and it always will be something that nobody can ever take away from you. But it just didn't seem to work for me at St Mirren, and then luckily enough that I got over to Ireland for a year to play. But no, at Kelly, I think just the whole aspect of being in training full time, and even like Adam Hodge and that, growing bonds with them, David Symes. So I just loved everything, to be fair. It was an enjoyable time.
Who were some of the kind of good coaches at Kelly at the time that were kind of helping you in the game?
There was always Alan Robertson. Alan Robertson that I heard was there. So I think Robbie was always good. He knew what you needed, like if you need a kick up the arse or you need to look after. So I think Robbie was always good at that. And even like growing up under 17s, I had Paul Wright as well. So it was good for me playing under him because he was a proper striker, wasn't he? So he always pulled you to the side and taught you a few things here and there. So it was enjoyable under them too, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Darren, we'll touch on obviously getting into management. How was it always the kind of plan once you stopped playing to kind of give coaching a try?
No, not at all, Scott. I didn't think I had the temperament for it. I was fiery as a player, and I just thought, with referees and bits and bobs, I said that's not for me. And it was by Big John Garrick, who lived in the same area as me. I wasn't even that friendly with John. He was at Dorai with Sammy Conn. Sammy was he's no longer with us. Yeah. Sorry to say, Sammy was an absolute gem. He coached the Ayr as well, and he had a long playing career. So Sammy and John were coaching at Dorai, and they asked me to come in and play 6 games. But I had retired. I was done. I was 43 or something. And I went and played half a dozen games with the boys at Dorai and really enjoyed it. At the end of the season, ended up getting promoted. Then John was one step down and he says, "Can you come in and help us?" And I was like, I'm not sure that's what I want to do. I ended up, that's what I done, and I had the time of my life. We had probably 16 or 17 of the best boys ever. Didn't get paid, no expenses. They run through a wall for you. And we actually got to the semi-final of the Junior Cup, which was incredible. You know, at Merciless Park, I think in its second replay, the second game against Musselburgh, there might have been a couple of thousand there, which was just unheard of for that wee town, you know, and we ended up losing. I think Musselburgh got beat 1-0 for Talbot in the final that year, but that's kind of started. I mean, I left here and went to Glenafton. Loved my time there. The wee bit of success as well. Won the league, into the Premier League, and won the West. And then I went 2 years there, and I went to Hurlford. So and then that's just been great. You know, I think 7 or 8 years there, and I'm still there yet at the moment. But no, in the Junior Cup finals, just, you know, that was just a special day. You know, I'll probably be up there with the 2 league winners' medals that I won in my playing career. So, but no, if you'd have said to me 10 or 12 years ago, you'll be a manager, I would have, no, wouldn't have been for me, I don't think.
We've got another wee question. We're obviously getting into our social media questions, but a few folk have asked this in. What made you want to get into coaching with Mark Roberts?
I don't even drink, but I must have been drunk. Marco's actually from the same area as me, Scott. You know, he's a short lease boy, and I've always known. Obviously played at a better level than I ever did, and he's a bit too mad for me.
Character, isn't he?
Oh, listen, his stories and again, he played for me. He left me and went to Ayr to take the job, come back, and then he went to Queen's Park. You know, so I've got a great relationship with Marco. He's something else, you know. And as I said, we started a wee coaching thing, and one of the parents, wee boy Calvin, his parents had brought him, had really, really long hair, and his dad said so he introduced him to me and Marco. So, hi, Calvin. And his dad pulled us to the side. He goes, don't mention his long hair. He doesn't like. He'll probably walk off the training. We're like, right, neighbour. Marco just went, right, Jesus, let's go. Come on. I was like, oh my God. But me man was like, all right, okay. So no, he's just a laugh a minute, you know. He's not stable. That's it in a nutshell.
A good mind for football though, isn't he? He does have a
terrific. Yeah. You know, Jinky will tell you, even if the condition he's in for his age, he's looked after himself. You know, obviously injuries are creeping in a wee bit. When I had him at the end, it was things were starting to go wrong with him, but talented boy, you know, and massive in the dressing room, as Jinky will tell you. You know, he was Jesus. He'd get you the deal.
Lewis, obviously, we'll touch on a bit on your kind of characters in the dressing room in a minute, but going to Hurlford, when did you first kind of hear about kind of going to Hurlford, and obviously your time in Ireland? What was your time in Ireland like, first of all?
Unbelievable. I was lucky, to be fair, because the boy Rhys McCabe was there.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me. I'd spoke to him just before I went over, but I ended up staying with him for the first couple of months until his girlfriend moved over. But I think the whole aspect of just living away and, as I say, playing football again every day, it was just something I really, really enjoyed. And it helped with the manager as well, Jay Little. So it was a bit different because like they do a summer league. So it was like I'd been at St Munn for 6 months, and that's went in the train with Hurlford. I think it was just at the start of December, and then the January after it was pre-season. So I was getting in there flying, to be fair, and it was just originally a 2-week trial. And then I think just because the condition I was in, I got offered that deal. So, but the league over there and standards actually really, really good. So it was enjoyable.
And then obviously coming back to Hurlford, but when did you first kind of talk to Dan about coming to Hurlford again? Well,
I was in there, as I just said, in the December before I went over there. So I always says to the gaffer, I'll be back if it ever falls through. So I always gave my word. He's been good with me. The club have been good with me. So as soon as I came back and I knew I wasn't getting offered a new deal, I was straight on the phone to the gaffer. So went in, trained, and luckily he signed me again.
And how much you enjoying being at Hurlford? And obviously the kind of camaraderie in the dressing room must be good as well.
Aye, see, to be fair, because there's still the same faces like Taz and Robbo and Chrissy and stuff. It doesn't change. So it's just that maybe if a few new players come in, but I think even with that, like, it's so easy to gel. Even like Dempsey, Gaffer, sometimes you don't feel as if your manager, assistant manager, like we all just got on that well. So it's just easy. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put you in the spot. We've obviously got if you've seen the show before, you'll know the manager gets the quick fire questions round regarding management, and the player gets the teammate questions where you put your teammates in the spot. Darren, we're going to start with you. We've got a few questions written down here. You ready to be put in the spot?
Yeah, fire away, Scott.
First question, Gerrard or Postecoglou?
Gerrard.
Favourite other sport?
Golf, maybe.
If you had to pick a new assistant manager, who would you pick? Mark Wilson or Mark Roberts?
Mark Wilson, easy.
All day long, no even a debate?
No, not even a doubt.
Best character you've met in football?
Characters. Maybe Paul Kinnear, as I mentioned earlier on, he was a jack of lad, you know, he was just something different and talented.
Brilliant. Who would you say is the best player you've ever played with?
Played with? Got to remember, I was always fighting relegation, Scott, so I was never in good teams. Ross County, I played with Derek Ferguson, Barry's brother Derek was there. He was a special talent, and maybe the boy Stevie Ferguson, who is a cheeky Zek up at Ross County and was their manager for a while there. Fergie was a talent.
Who's the worst?
The worst? Jinky. Oh, seriously, the worst? I couldn't answer that, man. Honestly. Mark Roberts. There's one.
Mark Roberts, side. Best player managed?
The best player I've managed? Listen, at the juniors, and you know, as much as all the talent Jinky's got, Taz has been magic for me. You know, I had him at Glenafton, and I brought him to Hurlford. You know, even Saturday, he was just class again. He plays injured, trains injured. He's a special wee player for me.
Favourite manager in the league? Who do you like spending time with after the games?
I wouldn't say I spend a lot of time with him. You know, I speak to Big Moff at Clydebank a bit. You know, got a lot of time for Moff. He's very knowledgeable. He's done a brilliant job. Speak to quite a few. Obviously, I had Craig McEwen at Glenafton as a player. Craig's now at St Caddock. I speak to quite a lot. I speak to Big John McEwen at Big Ruggy at Shots. But a lot of times he's a very good manager. If I've got any questions about a player in the lower leagues, he's the guy. He knows. If Big Ruggy doesn't know him, then he's not worth knowing. He's very knowledgeable in all the lower league teams, and I know he's doing a really good job at Shots just now, but I think he should be managing in the top league. You know, Ryan Caddis. I speak to Ryan back forward. He's took a job at Craig Martin, done really well. His first job. I played with Tucker for 6 or 7 years at Sunra, so I speak to Tucker. We train with him on a Tuesday and a Thursday night, so I speak to Tucker bits and bobs. You know, we butch at Beath. I've got a lot of time for. Quite a lot of them, Scott. You know, and when you say I would go out for a drink with any of them, but it's not like that. You know, but you could pick the phone up and we do get a wee chat when we're playing.
Brilliant. You can sign 3 players from your rivals in the West. Who would it be and why?
Oh, 3 players. You know, obviously, Darbo, I've got a hat full of players who would take. Obviously, Jordan Kirkpatrick and Ian McShane, and I know they'll probably not know me, but my son plays with St Mirren, so when Jay was up there, I used to see them, they're special talents. You know, they're boys that could easily be playing in the Championship right now. Other players I've always liked, I played with Graham Wilson. I played right at the end of my career. I played with Graham at Cumnock. Graham's always a player that I've liked left foot a bit like myself, so I'm kind of, you know, I like the lefties. But no, listen, there's loads right there, Scott. There's loads, you know, and I'd like to think I've got 2 or 3 in my own that, you know, a lot of other managers would like to sign, but they're probably 2 or 3 the ones that I would like. Yeah,
there's a couple of your players been mentioned already by the managers we spoke to. Would you rather in a normal season win the league or win the Scottish?
Win the Scottish. It was brilliant. I've never won the league, so the Premier League, so that probably it's just because of the way the way it went, and we beat my old team in the final as well, which was good. But no, the Scottish was magic. That's why I was disappointed at Colony Park this year when we went out, because it just means so much.
Messi or Ronaldo?
For this question a million times. My son would pick Ronaldo all day long, probably just the way he's produced at Man U, which has surprised me a wee tiny bit. I would vouch for Ronaldo, I think.
Brilliant. We're going to move on to Lewis. We're going to put Lewis in the spot with the teammate questions. And Darren, obviously, chip in if you feel that Lewis has said the right answer or the wrong answer. Lewis, are you ready?
All right, let's go.
Who's the best trainer at Hurlford?
Taz. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Who's the worst?
Martin McDonald. Big ginger goalie. Honking.
Who's the team hard man? Or claims to be?
I'll say claims to be Chrissy McKnight, but the real hard man's Will Graham, 1,000,000%. You wouldn't want to go anywhere near him. Absolutely not. I just avoid him in training. Man marked me on Thursday at training. He's a break. Well, stay away from me.
That wee Taz was telling, I think it was against Bonnet and week past Saturday. Wee Taz shouted to Will and he says, "Well, you need to give me more." And he turned and he goes, "Wee man, I'll die for you." Great boy.
Yes.
Who's the most skillful?
You like to say yourself?
Absolutely.
I'll go with me then. I'll say me.
I've got to agree.
Who's the quickest?
Do you know, I was actually thinking about this question last night. I was actually thinking what you're going to ask me. And I'm going to have to say Will Graham again. I think Will Graham or Jack Whittaker maybe. One of them two.
Who's the slowest?
Will Graham. I'll go Will Graham. The slowest? Can't say yourself again, so I'll go Lewis McIntyre. Stiffest man in the world. Centre half.
Darren Wiggin.
He's a bit stiff, but listen, Lewis is, he's had 2 cruciate ligament operations. He's only 21. He's been out for 2 years before I got him. So, but he's not the quickest.
I'm not cutting him any slack for that gaffer.
Who's the best character in the dressing room?
I'll probably go Ginge as well. Big goalie. Doesn't he shut up? Doesn't he speak any sense? But he's good to have in that changing room.
McKnight's good. McKnight.
Aye.
Chris McKnight's a good lad in the dressing room squad. He's the moniest. Oh my! And give him 2 or 3 drinks. He'd get a paracetamol so head, wouldn't he? That's
one guy you avoid when you're in a white night.
Brazil, Chrissy.
Aye.
But good lad. Good lad.
Yes.
Who's got the worst dress sense?
I don't know. I've not saw many of the new boys in the night out.
That?
Eh?
Can you both commit in the dress sense thing?
Aye. I don't want to throw any of the boys under the bus here. I'll go.
I don't know who I'd pick there.
I don't know that.
Maybe one of the Smart boys. They're times down there.
We'll go Lewis McIntyre then. We'll chuck him in for that one.
Final question. Who's the teacher's pet?
Taz, full stop. That's it.
Right.
He is the gaffer's boy, to be fair, but you understand why. Saturday's another reason why you can see he's a gaffer's boy, so we'll let him laugh at that one.
Brilliant. Right, well, what we're going to do is now, if you've seen the show, we get hold of some sources who give us information to quiz you about, and by no means have we been let down here. We've got a few good ones. First things first, we went international this week. We went over the Channel Island. We went to Italy. We've got a source for Italy actually here. Why does Darren and Marco keep patching my voicemails as being part of D&M Pro Coaching? That is from a Mr. Angelo Alessio.
Oh wow! Obviously, I lost him this year to Glenafton, but Ross Fischer, who Jinky will tell you, he's got quite a dry sense of humour, but funny boy. So we were doing our pro coaching. We're coaching every most Sundays, we always couldn't meet. Me and Marco, we couldn't wait to finish to get into the car to get the voicemails for Fish, and he would, like, pretend he was Angelo Alessio, and his accent was magic, and he kept asking, I want to join your coaching squad, and Marco would never get back to him, and it was hilarious. I used to record them on, we put them on the dressing room, let the boys listen to him before the game. Absolutely special.
Brilliant. Jinky, where does the Pinaldo nickname come from?
Don't even go there.
Do you want to go into this?
No.
So, Ian Cashmore. So I think last year, I think 4 of my 5 goals were off penalties. So I was on a night out in Cowan and he just kept saying Pinaldo. So we had played Ardrossan a pre-season friendly. We've got beat. So whatever, I've tweeted after the game, I scored 2 penalties. I've tweeted, Cashy's texted me saying Pinaldo, so I've tweeted it for a laugh. And then it's caused a bit of an uproar in the changing room, but that's where it comes. So it comes from Ian Cashmore.
The uproar was me, Scott. We were absolutely horrible, and Jinky scored 2 penalties, and I don't do Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And my son had showed me it. He said, "Oh, look at that, Dad, Jinky's on." I said, "Pinaldo, I swear to God, wait till I said to him, "Was you ever write that shite anymore?"
That's whose fault it is. It's Cashy's fault.
I said, "It's all right, bumming about it when we win. When we lose, no, different kettle of fish."
It's came up in the changing room a few times now after games and that as well. So
brilliant. Ask Kendall, was it true you gave the team a day off for the Scotland-England game in the summer only to change your mind as they lost a friendly?
Aye. I did.
We've actually got a quote here about it. We've got a quote for the person that wrote this. I hope none of you have made plans as we will be in training now. Said you were off, no off. Is that true?
Changed my mind. One of the boys went to. He said it was Alec Bell, wasn't it, Jinky?
Aye.
Alec Bell's.
I'm going to Wembley. I said, "What, you get tickets like?" He goes, No, we're just going to a pub. I says, "What, you've got to Wembley and you're not even going to the game?" And he says, "No." I says, "But you said we were off." I says, "Aye, I know, but I didn't say you were off."
And running Saturday morning.
Aye, we were. Aye, the joys.
Lewis, is it true you rigged the voting for the SM Media Player of the Month?
Nah. Don't know what that's game about. I think people have just realised how well I've done that one, Scott, and voted for me.
I'll assure the viewers there's been no rigging of voting going on at this channel. Ask Kendall to tell you the story of stitching up Big Lockie, the goalkeeper, at training a few weeks ago, telling him someone lifted his car.
Oh, what had happened? I was over getting kit before training. He just passed his test not that long ago, and he got a wee runner. But I think his mum and dad had bought my brand new, or just a 1-year-old Corsa, and it was so I had bumped in to people at the club and they said, "Oh, Big Lockie's got a brand new car," and I was like, "All right, what colour is it?" "Oh, it's a nice kind of Rangers blue, and it's brand new." So we're out doing the warm up with the game before training started. A couple of weeks past on Tuesday, and there was it's like a 5-foot hedge at the other side of where we train, and then the car parks at the other side of that. And I just blotted away in conversation. I says, a lorry's just ran right into the back of a blue Corsa lorry. I said, "It looked brand new." I said, "It smashed it to bits." And he just went, "No!" And he ran. And he looked, it was like a Grand National. He just looked the fence, ran away. And about 5 minutes later, he just bounced back over the fence, come running up. They just stood and they never even cracked a light, I have to say. And I says, like, "All right, big man." He goes, "Wasn't my car." I was like, "Fine." So to this day, he doesn't even know that I was stitching him up. Would you like Jinky jumping that hedge?
Oh, he runs. He gallops as well when he runs, so it made it even funnier when he was jumping that hedge.
He's a great big lad as well.
Got another one for Hendo. Ask Hendo about the Richie McMillan rant at Glenafton when he told him to move out his mum and dad's house in a half-time rant.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget that day. Fabulous boy Richie as well, and his dad Davey, lovely guy as well. So I think we get beat, or we're getting beat at half time, and he 26, 27-year-old, and he's still staying with his mum and dad, and they were still making his peace for his work and all that. And I was like, you want to fucking get a grip of yourself, get a life, move out, start fending for yourself. I'm fucking sick of it. And right over the top. And Demp's actually said to me after the game, he says, by the way, that was way over the top with Richie. And I was so mad. I goes, what did I say? And he told me, I goes, and I'm like, well, fuck, did I actually say that? So his dad came in to see me, and he says, Hendo, I'm not happy the way he spoke to Richie at half time, but tell him to move out and get a grip of his cell and grow up and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, all right, okay, David. And I says, anyway, I said it. I says, I can't take it back. It is what it is. In the next 6 weeks, he was magic man of the match. And his dad came in, chapped the door. He goes, Hendo, brilliant. You keep saying that to him. Whatever you want to say to him, you just say it. He says, if that's what it does to his game, then carry on. And he was magic for 6 wees. But I slaughtered him, absolutely slaughtered him.
Brilliant. Ask the gaffer about Liam Miller's throw-ins.
I told him last, was it against Fischer? We had a throw-in, and I just says, Liam, just start throwing it to them. I said, as well, just giving them the ball. throws it. I think he might be colourblind. I don't know what.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, so he's off the throw-ins. You know, he's definitely he's not the brightest either, think you?
Nah. No. Miles off it. I think there was actually a stage in the game on Saturday that Chrissy McKnight no come out to right back to take a throw in.
Aye. Took the ball off him.
Ask Lewis about the time Hendo lost the door handle from Bonnet and training ground.
How did I know this was going to come up, Gaffer?
Wow.
So it was like Hodgie was there at the time. So me, Hodgie, and Sam used to travel in, and we trained at Bonnet. So I think the door handle had came off after the door. So me and Sam sat next to it. So I've put the door handle in Sam's bag just for a laugh, thinking he's going to go into his bag after training and we'd see it. So like, training's done, showered that up the road, and the gaffer phones Sam. Sam, you saw that door handle? Sam's like, nah, gaffer, I've not saw it anywhere. I'm sitting in the back of the car thinking, I know fine well this door handle's in his bag. He's phoned Hodgie. Hodgie, you saw that door handle? Nah, I've not saw it anywhere. So I think we got to about Cross House, maybe just past. I was like, here, that door handle's in your bag, by the way, Sam. Yeah, you're winding me up. Phoned the gaffer. I think we end up getting it back to that night, but we've never trained at Bonnet since.
Well, Scott, we actually were borrowing their facility, and I had to lock up. I couldn't fucking lock up because there was no handle to shut the door. And I'm standing there at 11:30, phoning people. Where's the handle? Where's the handle?
I'm sitting in the back, knowing fine well it's in Sam's bag.
I had to phone a caretaker, and he's like that. Then 250 quid it cost us for a joiner to come out and sort the door.
Sam's fault was in his bag, gaffer.
It's always Sam's fault, Dinky.
We've got one more for Lewis. Ask Lewis about Martin McDonald ripping his trousers at Ross Fisher's wedding trying to kick Jack Whittaker.
Oh, my God. So this is what I'm saying about, like, just doesn't have a brain, this goalie. So Ross Fisher's wedding reception, I think it was in like Ayr or something. Where was it, Gaff? Was it Ayr or something?
That was, I know, it was doing Canaan Bankway.
Aye.
Called again.
Entertain House?
Aye, that's the way it was.
Aye, that was it. So it was there, and Fisher's invited the whole team and that. So, like, all the boys have took their missus' wives and that. So Ginger's there himself. So he just starts dancing and that. So we're all just sitting there, and he's had a few swallies. And then 2 seconds later, you just see his leg lift up in the air to karate kick Jack Whittaker in the head. And then 5 minutes later, he just disappeared. So we phoned him. I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm in a taxi back to Irvine. I've just ripped the middle of my trousers, and you can see my boxers for trying to kick Jack Whittaker in the head. But like this boy as well, like, even at the races, I had an incident, but we'll not go into that. We'll keep that off camera.
The worrying thing is he builds scaffolding. You know, people's got to work that. That's a worry.
I'll stay away from his sites anyway, Gaffer.
Brilliant. But that's obviously, there's some great stories there. We're going to obviously preview what's coming up, and obviously it's a Friday night game this week. Is there a way to go winning? Darren, obviously that's a massive game playing the Buffs. So he's getting in with a bit of confidence.
Aye, you know, obviously the Buffs are going really well. He's got them. Obviously, we Carlo's back, who's a big hitter for them. So we need to give him special attention. You know, they've had a great start to the season again. We'll go there. We've went to Darvel and won, so there's no reason why we can't go to Buffs Park. I was down a couple of weeks ago. They've done brilliant things down there at the sports club, the floodlights, and there was a big crowd. It was the night they beat Kilbirnie. So they'll be difficult to beat. But I think if we take our A game down there, we'll certainly get a good account of ourselves, and I'll be expecting to do well. Aye.
Brilliant. Lewis, what's your thoughts going into Friday night? You can't beat a Friday night game under the lights, can you?
Nah, especially in my hometown as well. So, I think we showed at Darvel and Clydebank, even like the midweek games that we had at the start of the season, we always seem to do well. So we'll show Kilwinning the respect that they deserve and be careful with our key players. But as the gaffer says, I don't see why we can't go there and get the 3 points and build the momentum.
Darren, obviously going on to a bit about talking, you were mentioning there about the setup at Kilwinning and kind of teams like that. Obviously that's a big part of what the kind of clubs are trying to do now. Were you kind of hoping that Hurlford kind of join that shortly and get a bit more infrastructure? As obviously the committee's done a really good job, but obviously is that the kind of next step to get in the kind of SFA membership and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. It's the way ahead now. Most clubs are doing it, and and it's no secret. That's probably why we lost some players in the summer. That attraction of midweek games, senior Scottish Cup, getting their licence, it's massive now, and it's just the only wee issue we have at Hurlford is the situation of the pitch. It's right in the middle of a housing scheme with floodlights, but it's something that we're going to need to look into. I think the ball has started to roll and discussions about it, but we kind of need to take it to the next stage. How that's going to happen, I don't know, but it's something that most other clubs are pursuing now. So it's important, as you said, we went up to Darvel on a Friday night, and we're going to go down to Kilwinning this week on a Friday night. The big crowds, big occasions, and the game, not just because we won the game up at Darvel, the pitch and just what they've got up there is just fantastic. Hats off to them. And like at Kilwinning, but they're the only two clubs. There's a lot of clubs now progressing, dressing rooms and things are just like the changeover. Some of the clubs are fantastic. So we need to try and do what we can, or we will. It's got I know this is pretty harsh. We'll lose players. I've lost them before, and to safeguard that, we need to start putting things in place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can only wish you all the very best with that. Lewis, before we wrap up, obviously after the Buffs, it's 5 home league games in a row. You're doing really well at home. I think you're up the kind of top of the league in the kind of home table. How big's that to kind of keep that momentum going, particularly at your home ground?
Aye, 100%. I think the gaffer always gets on us about how well we'd play at home and how key the home form is. So especially around about the Christmas period as well, we know what our own park's going to be like. So I don't see why we can't go after Friday and go and win the 5 games at home. So I think it is crucial, and I can't see why we can't go and win the 5 games and climb up the league table and progress into the next rounds of the cups. Yeah, Darren, is it big as well for you to keep the kind of good home run going? Absolutely. Listen, Scott, as Jinky will tell you, Hurlford's not the easiest pitch to play on. It gives us a massive advantage. It sits in a bit of slope. It's not the biggest either. So it's key that we win our home games and try and pick up bits and bobs away from home. We've got 2 home cup ties coming up soon against obviously Blackburn United and Kilbirnie, which I hope to stay and progress in both the cups. But the league games are we're bread and butter, and I keep saying about getting as many points on the board as we can. If we can probably pick up 2 or 3 wins over the next few weeks, it just keeps collecting points, and that target I think, Scott, I don't know if it will going to be 45, but as a coach and a manager, I need to protect the club, and hopefully they'll win that top league next year. Even if you look at the conferences this year, there's some big teams in it, and they're
probably best chance of getting in the top league is this year. We winning their conference, but there's going to be the conference or the championship next year is going to be one hell of a league, because there's going to be 7 from our league, and then the 2 or 3 for each conference that don't make it into the top league. So that'll be, you know, a tough league. So it's so important we stay in the top league.
Yeah, definitely, mate. We're wishing you all the very best for the season. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks very much to both of you for coming on.
Scott, it's been a pleasure, pal.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much to everyone that tuned into the show. Please subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channels and follow us on social media. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.